What's going on, guys? Ryan O'Toole back here again, giving you guys another top 10 list. If you guys are new here, feel free to click that subscribe button and that bell notification icon for more reviews, reactions, rankings, and more movie content. This is a very highly anticipated follow-up top 10 list video. If you guys checked in last week, I gave you guys my personal top 10 favorite opening scenes to movies. And now for this follow-up video, I figure I do the exact opposite. My top 10 personal favorite ending scenes in movies. Let me know down below in the comments section what your guys' top 10 favorite film endings of all time are. Why did these endings work for you? What did they do that made you feel impactful? Were they great endings? Were they dark endings? Did they make you feel happy? This is a strictly personal list, guys. Just like with all my top 10s or last week's video, these are just my personal favorite ending scenes to movies. They mean the most to me. I either love what happened or I was really sad or angry what happened at the end of them. They just had the most impact to me. I have 8 honorable mentions, and my first one is The Sixth Sense, a very iconic M. Night Shyamalan movie. This is not the only Shyamalan movie in my honorable mentions. I love this ending. It's one of the greatest twists in cinematic history. Bruce Willis's character finds out he is dead the whole entire movie. Of course, you get that iconic quote from Haley Joel Osment, "I see dead people," and the whole movie was building up to this iconic moment. I love Quentin Tarantino. I think he has a lot of fantastic endings, but my favorite from him has got to be Django Unchained, my favorite Tarantino movie. The ending where Django goes back to Calvin Candy's ranch and kills off all the rest of those slave owners, especially Steven. Of course, we know Calvin Candy, spoilers, dies in the movie, and he goes back for vengeance, kills Steven, Samuel L. Jackson, and this is an awesome ending. I just love that song that plays, and then the explosion of Candyland, and then it just rides off with him and Kerry Washington on the horses. Avengers Infinity War did make my honorable mentions for my favorite opening scenes of all time, and I think the ending is even better. Of course, when Thanos wipes out half of all life and humanity at the end of Infinity War, it is a completely shocking moment that many people did not see coming. Speaking of The Sixth Sense, I gotta put Unbreakable's ending. I mean, I think that twist at the end of Unbreakable might have surpassed The Sixth Sense for me. The twist comes out of nowhere, punches you in the face when you find out Elijah Price is the one that caused that train incident to get David Dunn to come out of hiding. It's an incredible ending, and the thing that made this scene the most for me has got to be the score. The score from James Newton Howard is one of my favorite scores in superhero films. Recency bias, I know you guys are going to say it, but I love the ending to The Lighthouse, Robert Eggers' second sophomore effort. This ending is brutal but awesome. Robert Pattinson in this movie might have given his best performance so far, in my honest opinion. Just the final fight between him and Willem Dafoe, the two lighthouse keepers, and there's just crazy imagery going on in here. But the way Eggers directs this ending, it's kind of like when you open a golden suitcase, you're seeing nothing but gold in there, and it's just Robert Pattinson screaming, falling down the lighthouse, and then leading to one of the most awesome ending shots with the seagulls. The ending to Back to the Future, the first one, I think is one of the most classic shots of an ending. Of course, when you get Marty going back in time, reuniting with his girlfriend and his parents and stuff, and then Doc Brown comes back and says, "Marty, we gotta go back to the future." And they go back to 2015 into the Back to the Future Part 2. I just love this ending to Back to the Future. It's very iconic, and it gets you excited for the next movie. Going old school editing, Casablanca. Casablanca is one of the greatest films ever made, and I really love Casablanca. My favorite scene has got to be the ending where Rick Blaine says his iconic line, "Here's looking at you, kid," saying goodbye to his love of his life, Ilsa, seeing the plane flying off at the end, and he's going to start a brand new life, decides to stay back and not go with the love of his life. I think that's a bold decision. A lot of people expected a happy ending. And my last honorable mention is gonna be the Blair Witch Project. Now, this ending is really creepy. When you look at the filming and just the concept behind the Blair Witch Project, it's one of the most talked about horror films, found footage films of all time. Many people are saying, is this real? Is this fake? And the way that this whole entire third act went down, I was pretty terrified. Those are fantastic endings altogether, but they just couldn't make my top 10 list. Without further ado, here's my number 10. At the number 10 spot is going to be Logan. The opening gas station fight cracked my honorable mentions of my favorite openings, but the ending was way more impactful and so sad. It led up to one of the most impactful moments, spoiler alert, Wolverine's death. It is soul crushing, and Hugh Jackman's performance in here was highly overlooked for Oscar love. And you get his daughter holding his hands, and then the burial. My God, the burial, the X. I can't even. Let's go to the next one. Speaking of really sad endings, my number 9 is going to be a Pixar ending, and I know Cody wants this way higher on the list, and that is Coco. I think Coco's ending is magnificent, and the whole movie is so relatable. For me, being a percussionist, I totally see Miguel's love for music and his family having a complete hatred of music because of what happened with their former family member. Remember Me, I'm so happy that won the Oscar. It is a really devastating song with Mama Coco, and just the whole imagery. Hector finally going to get his photo back and then seeing his daughter again. It's just really sad, but it's a very happy ending at the same time. My number 8 is going to be for, of course, The Dark Knight. It was in my openings, and now it's in my endings again.
The Dark Knight.
I love when comic book superhero movies don't just have, the perfect ending, everything is happy, the hero wins at the end. But in this one, it's different. The villain wins. The Joker wins at the end. Christopher Nolan, he knows his stuff. He knows how to end a movie strong. And The Dark Knight is a very powerful ending. And then you have Batman running away from the cops. You get the score from Hans Zimmer. Number 7, you may have expected this to be number 1 because it's my favorite movie of all time. But it is one of my favorite endings of all time. The Empire Strikes Back. The ending to Empire Strikes Back, just like The Dark Knight, you may have expected the heroes to come out on top, everybody celebrates, but no, Darth Vader kicks Luke's ass in that fight, and the Empire wins pretty much, and then you find out Luke is Darth Vader's son, and then they try to go on their adventures. Luke is still recovering from his chopped arm off, and it's just great to see the characters come back together once again. And then just the whole banter between them. They know shit went down, and then they have to go fix what just happened in Return of the Jedi. Number 6, I know you guys are going to comment, recency bias, Ryan, but I think this ending is very powerful, especially with certain characters that I have loved for 11 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think their endings were perfect. It's Avengers Endgame. Finally, Steve Rogers getting happiness, getting that dance with Peggy. It's what we all wanted since Captain America: The First Avenger, and I just think Captain America's ending was perfect. I don't want him to show up in any other MCU movie. This was the perfect ending for Captain America. Wrapped up perfect character storylines, and it sets things up for the next stage, the next generation of the MCU characters. Before we give you guys my top 5 favorite film endings of all time, if this is your guys' first time checking out my channel and you're enjoying this top 10 list so far and you want to see more content from me, do me a huge favor, man, hit that like button. It really helps out my channel, and consider clicking that subscribe button because I do tons of awesome top 10 lists like this on a weekly basis. I do movie reviews, whether classic or new movie reviews. And if you're interested, I have a podcast called the Fallen for Film Podcast. It's me and my co-host, Colin Williams. We dive into all the newest trends in movie news. We have awesome guests on from time to time, and we just talk tons of movie content on there. If you're interested, Fallen for Film Podcast, platform links are in the description. Without further ado, let's continue. Let's move into the top 5. Coming in at number 5 is going to be an end to an iconic trilogy. Many people say this is the greatest movie trilogy of all time. Different opinions out there, but my number 5 is going to be the end to Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King. While I'm not a diehard Lord of the Rings fan, I think this ending is very good. I love the score from Howard Shore, and just the whole ending with Aragorn being crowned king. It's just an epic moment. And then you get the hobbits, and then Aragorn's like, my friends, you bow to no one. And then the score just plays, but that's not even the ending. Frodo leaving Middle-earth was really sad, just powerful acting from everybody around. Gandalf with his emotions, and then just the endings for certain characters being either sad or happy. Samwise, the hero of Middle-earth, gets a family, but Frodo doesn't get a happy ending. He leaves Middle-earth. He leaves his friends and family. Number 4, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I think the ending made me cry so much. It was so worth it. My number 4 is The Shawshank Redemption. This is my favorite friendship in movies. Besides Woody and Buzz, I think Morgan Freeman, Tim Robbins, Andy Dufresne, and Red Redden, it's my favorite movie friendship of all time. You just want to see these two characters get their happiness, get out of this prison, and the whole film has been building up to that moment. Andy Dufresne gets a lot of stuff thrown at him. The warden, the cops beating on him, taking advantage of him, and Red Redden as well. They have motives that you care about these guys, and all the irony just been building up to this amazing ending. Number 3 is a pretty cliche choice for favorite movie endings. It's Inception. This is easily the most discussed film ending of all time. What happened to Cobb? Was he dreaming or was he not? This is still a debate that is not answered because there's no answer really. It's really up to you. I think he does find his happy ending. You know, he finds his kids, he moves on from his wife, and it's just well earned. My number 2 is, I think, the ending sequence that made me sweat so much that I was at the gym or something. My number 2 is Whiplash. This is the most intense ending I have ever seen in cinema, and what a concept too. Who would ever thought jazz drumming would be the most suspenseful thing ever watching a film? Me being a percussionist, it is really difficult drumming, man, and just Miles Teller, props to him. He did a majority of the drumming in this movie. And J.K. Simmons' character, easily a very intimidating character. But just the ending of just non-stop improv with the caravan song and the editing. Like I said, the editing makes this one of the best film endings for me. But number 1 for me, childhood beats raw intensity. This is my favorite Pixar series of all time. One of my favorite film franchises. I grew up with the very first Toy Story film and then grew up with Andy as he had to give his toys away in Toy Story 3.
So long, partner.
I don't understand how you can call this a bad ending because it's so emotional, it is so powerful. Andy is just growing up and giving his toys away. It's a very powerful message in there that you still have somebody with you and the toys get somebody at the end. It is powerful, the music, the dialogue, the wording just makes you cry so much like I'm doing right now. But Toy Story 3, I've cried so many times, and every time I watch this movie, I just cry because it is just that great of an ending. There you have it, guys. That is my top 10 personal favorite movie endings of all time. Don't get mad, guys. This is just all for fun and personal. And if I missed any, let me know your top 10 favorite film endings. Let's have a great conversation below. I got lots of great videos coming out for you guys this week. Look forward to them. Thank you guys so much for watching. All my social media links are in the description below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.